I have a question. If the Quran has always been perfectly preserved, why was it only canonized in 1985? Let's have a look at the different Quran versions. While the Quran was supposedly compiled during the time of Prophet Muhammad and the Rightly Guided Caliphs in the 7th century, there have been efforts over the centuries to establish authoritative versions and readings of the text, which is odd since it's been perfectly preserved, we are told. Now, here are some key points with evidence. There are multiple canonical readings of the Quran. So the Quran has been transmitted through multiple canonical readings or qira'at that were accepted by early Islamic scholars. These include the readings of Qalun, Warsh, Al-Bazzi, Qunbul, Al-Duri, Al-Susi, Hisham, Ibn Dhakwan, Shu'bah, Hafz, Khalaf. Let's continue. Khalad, Alayt, Isa ibn Wardan, Ibn Jumaz, Ruwais, Rauh, Ishaq, and Idris. That's a large number of variations of the Quran. Now, these readings, while supposedly only different in pronunciation and somewhat in orthography, were all considered authentic transmissions of the Quranic text. I'd like to know which one of these is the one that's written on the tablets in Paradise. Which one of these multiple variants of the Quran is the original that sits in Paradise on those golden tablets? Let's have a look at the Cairo edition, 1924. In 1924, a committee of scholars based in Cairo, Egypt, published an edition of the Quran known as the Cairo edition or Al-Musaf al-Musawwar. This edition aimed to establish a standardized written text and was based primarily on the canonical readings of Hafz and Asim, who died in 796 AD. And this was published in 1924 by a committee of scholars based in Cairo, Egypt. It had a significant impact on the Arabic-speaking Muslim world and is considered a milestone in the history of the Quran's textual standardization, which I find odd since the Quran was standardized in the 1st century of Islam. Let's have a look at the Saudi Arabian authorized version from 1985. So the Quran was standardized in the 1st century of Islam, which apparently is somewhere around 1985. In 1985, the Saudi Arabian government officially adopted and authorized a specific written version of the Quran known as the Musaf al-Madina al-Nabawiyya, or the Medina Musaf. This version was based on the canonical reading of the Hafs and Asim following the Cairo edition of 1924, and printed by the King Fahd complex for the printing of the Holy Quran in Medina. This one has been widely distributed globally. However, there is no complete Uthmanic manuscript from the 7th century. We have no 1st century Qurans. There are no early Qurans that we can refer back to. There are no complete early Qurans we can refer back to. So how do we know this is the original Quran? The earliest relatively complete manuscripts are the Topkapi and the Sanna, but these date to the late 7th and early 8th centuries. Now, the Sanna manuscript contains variations in its lower text compared to the standard Uthmanic text, which means it's a palimpsest. The manuscript was erased and new text was written over it. Because of these significant variations in the lower text compared to the standard Uthmanic text, this means there was textual diversity before there was canonization. The Sanna palimpsest indicates a period of textual diversity before the canonization of the Quranic text. So if we have an authorized version, this means there were numerous unauthorized versions. So how do we know which one is the original, unaltered, perfectly preserved copy? Which one is the one that came directly from Paradise to Muhammad, to his scribes? And why do we have multiple variations, numbering easily more than a dozen? Now, early manuscripts show variations in areas like surah order, surah names, verse numbering systems, and so on compared to the standard text. Now, Muslim sources mention the possibility of verses being added, removed in the compilation process under Uthman based on hadith reports. So we have the case of missing verses. Maybe someone needs to check that goat or sheep or whatever it was that ate that verse. Muslim sources acknowledge debates among Islamic scholars about the extent of editing and variants in the pre-Uthmanic period. Muslim sources indicate that there were variants and an evolution of the textual tradition, especially pre-canonization. How can there be an evolution if the Quran was sent down complete to Muhammad? This thing just had to be copied, and apparently not a dot changed. It was perfectly preserved. So how do we have multiple readings, variant unauthorized Qurans? And finally, recent scholarship identifies Abd al-Malik as the one who canonized the Quran, not Uthman. Have a look at my videos recently. I did 2 on the Birmingham manuscript of the Quran. Looking at the evidence clearly contradicts the standard narrative as given to us by Muslim apologists. And then I also made a short video, discussing Abd al-Malik's influence and Al-Hajjaj versus Uthman. And I will be doing a discussion on the Sana palimpsest very shortly. Thanks. See you soon.